Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to answer if Block stock is a buy, the company formerly known as Square. Of course, if you're new to my channel, I've developed my own simplified 6-step framework to determine if a stock is a buy or not. That's what I'm going to use to answer this question, so let's get right into it. The first step in my framework looks at customer value, and for Block, revenue has been increasing from 203 million in 2012 to 17.7 billion in 2021. It offers merchant services both online and in person, mobile payments, and financial services. Of course, it's also home to the very popular Cash App. The company boasts a net promoter score of 70, which, if you look at the scale here, is considered excellent. And it's actually in the top three, I would say, of all the companies that I follow. Looking at the net promoter score, only about two companies that I follow have a higher score than that. And, going uh, the net promoter score, one of the things that it measures is customer loyalty. It shows how likely a customer is to come back and also how likely the customer is to recommend the product to a friend or family member. The next step in my framework looks at unit economics, and Square Block, sorry, is a software as a service company. Mostly, it does have some hardware for its in person POS business point of sale hardware, but for the most part, it's a software as a service business, and these are characterized by large upfront investments that scale over time. And so, as an investor, what you want to see is economies of scale. For the gross profit margin, it averaged 30% in the last decade. Okay. But the operating profit margin rose from negative 42% to 1.3% in that time. So even though the margin was negative most of the time, and it's very thin at 1.3% most recently, it is demonstrating excellent economies in scale here. As revenue is growing, it's bringing up profitability. That's what I like to see as an investor. The next step in my framework looks at the total addressable market, or the total opportunity. And look, just in the US alone, there are 20 million businesses that have $6 trillion in gross receipts. So this is the market that Block is serving, one part of the market that Block is serving, and it's an absolutely massive market. So it can make gains here in several ways, in incremental opportunities and incremental services. So a massive opportunity ahead. The next step in my framework looks at competition, and there's several competitors trying to capture the merchant payment processing uh, market, including Shopify. You have others in there. You could consider PayPal, Visa, Mastercard, and there's many more. As you saw, the massive market opportunity is attracting a lot of businesses to serve that market. However, the good news is that competition is not based on pricing per se, but it's rather on solutions offered to merchants that remove friction and add value. How can you help businesses in reduce their friction in payment processing? How can you simplify things for merchants that way they can focus on what they do best and not worry about point of sale and payment processing and all of those things that go into, serving their customers? The next step in my framework looks at valuation and Blocks. I looked at the price to sales ratio, and Block is relatively fairly priced. If we look at the price to sales of 2.267, it's about as low as it's been going back before 2016. The reason I don't say that it's cheap, anytime I use the price to sales ratio, I'm very reluctant to say that it's cheap, because I'm not looking at price to free cash flow or price to earnings. I'm just looking at sales, and I'm always skeptical with sales because it's easy to generate sales if you're not running your business profitably, right? You can sell something at a lower price and generate sales, and then if you're looking at price to sales, it's going to look better than it should be. So I'm a little skeptical, and that's why I say fairly priced and not, I don't say that it's cheap, even though it's the lowest it's been going back in before 2016. All right, the final step in my framework looks at risks, and the near-term risks of a recession could reduce consumer spending, which Block relies on to generate revenue, right? They get a percentage of revenue from merchant transactions. And then secondly, the crashing cryptocurrency prices could reduce customer acquisition in its Cash App. One of the things that Cash App allows is to buy and sell cryptocurrencies, and that's attracted a lot of customer signups to the service. And with the declining popularity of cryptocurrencies, that could decrease customer signups at Cash App and increase customer acquisition costs in the segment. All right, now that I've looked at each step in the framework, let me give it a grade. Customer value, they get an A plus. We saw the excellent score there. Unit economics, they get a B plus because even though their margins are really small, they've showed nice expansion over time. Total addressable market A plus. We saw the huge opportunity. Competition, they get an A here because the participants in the industry are allowed to differentiate and charge prices according to their differentiation. It's not a commodity product where it's a race to who can provide the product at the lowest price, which makes it difficult to earn good profit margins, which is not good news for investors. This is the opposite. They're allowed to differentiate and generate healthy profit margins at scale. So this is good news for investors. Risks, I gave it a B. The near-term recession risks are high, and also cryptocurrency prices have been crashing. That's bad news for Block. Valuation, I gave it a B because they're not yet profitable on the bottom line, so they get, or they're not consistently profitable on the bottom line, so they get a B in that regard because I can't use the price to earnings and price to free cash flow and have a nice history to look at. All right, so now it's time to answer the question, is blockstock a buy? Blockstock is a buy right now. Its massive market opportunity coupled with the demonstrated excellent economies in scale and the relatively fair valuation, right? I said it's not cheap, but it's not expensive. All of those reasons lead me to say that it's not a bad idea to buy block stock right now. All right, so that's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.